The most expensive 15 minutes on a founder's calendar. Just the moment they decide to refill a seat that just opened. A senior leader leaves and the clock starts that same day. And immediately, people become frantic. They start thinking about logistics, job descriptions, recruiters, interviews, organizational charts. And all of this loud work starts crowding the more quiet question about why people are exiting. A departure is information about the seat and not just the person. Because people rarely leave a position that is designed for them to win. And when we can tap into that and get some more understanding of why this seat is being vacated, we can start to learn and understand things about the organization that were previously unseen. So the fastest, quickest move, which most founders might take, is to simply refill the seat as quickly as possible. They get someone in there to start doing the work and continuing to operate in the same way that we had before so that we don't experience any slack or setbacks. But this strategy is most likely for you to rehire and experience the same constraint that is setting you back to begin with. And the reason it reseats is hiding in the document that you're about to hand a recruiter. The job description you currently have is a job description for someone who just left. It was built around their strengths and their abilities and their compromises, and it was designed for your organization as it was 2 years or even 5 years ago when they first started. But things have changed since then, and so the job description must as well. Reusing it hires for a role that no longer exists, because apparently that role has become something else, something less attractive, something that doesn't allow the person sitting in it to succeed. Maybe it's become a reporting position or a firefighting one. Whatever it is, it's no longer wanted. Naming the job you actually need now is the first real decision. And it happens before the search, not during it. And this gets sharper when it isn't just one exit, but a cluster. Because one exit is a person, but 2 to 3 leaving in the same window is a pattern. And when you have this many people leaving in the same time, they tend to be pointing at the same structural thing. And backfilling each individual seat one at a time treats a system issue as a staffing issue. And you're very likely to just reinstall the same problems that caused people to leave in the first place. And the most telling sign is that these roles became much harder to win in than they were designed for. So how do you actually put a read on what's causing people to leave? 3 questions. Exit interviews rarely tell you the real reason why people leave. Try these questions instead. Where did decisions keep stalling in the months before they left? Where did they try to escalate things, however things still remained unresolved? And where did they get blamed for issues, but they didn't have the authority to fix them? These 3 questions will converge on a point, and that convergence is the constraint. So build your next search around that constraint to avoid having similar problems when the next person fills the seat. Let me show you exactly this from a seat I walked into myself. I was hired into a CMO position at Lieferheld with the wrong brief, and I nearly ran with it. Well, the brief said marketing performance, and the easy path was just to accept it and go ahead optimizing channels and seeking to operationally run everything more efficiently. But having experienced working with the wrong brief before and not considering upstream constraints, I knew better this time around. Because the real constraint in this situation was our strategy. It was our positioning and our messaging. The brand simply wasn't landing in the market. So every ad dollar that we were spending was running against a currency of friction. So the move was to reposition ourselves in the market uniquely from our competitors around warmth and humor, and then to allow spend to follow as performance dictated. We focused on message and then media. The results were amazing. Acquisitions went up 54% year over year. CPA came down from 24 euros to 12 euros. SEO reversed its performance into double-digit growth. And all of this contributed to a $1.1 billion acquisition. So the seat was not the problem. The brief was. So what do you do with this if a seat just opened in your company? Open seat is the cheapest and shortest way you'll ever get to change your organization. For a few weeks, you have permission to rethink a role, and you lose that permission the day someone sits down in that seat again. And what a founder can do this week, write down what the seat was actually doing versus what you needed it to do, and then run those 3 questions against that last hire. A great hire into the wrong role still fails. Talent doesn't rescue a seat from being pointed at the wrong problems. And this isn't a verdict on the person who left or the one that you'll hire. It simply shows how a role's description can drift over time, even while everyone is hard at work doing their jobs. If a seat just opened, define the job around the real constraint before you run the search. Find the constraint, fix it in the right order.